The beginning years were defined as humiliating experiences we somehow survived, such as the freshman play. My performing arts semester play was The Little Mermaid, and humiliating it was. We danced around on stage under the command of Mrs. Butler, with stuffed animal fish on our heads singing the tunes of the Disney classic. Humility, as a tribute to this experience, was the main lesson I learned as a freshman. The highlight of sophomore year was the fact that we were no longer freshmen. Junior year began with the search for colleges, increased academic expectations, and tests of terrifying acronyms such as SATs and ACTs. Stress levels rose and fell by the day, but the unconditional support and strength of each other's encouragement was all we needed to get through. Now, with 4 years of high school behind us, our views upon the world have changed and expanded. Our horizons are more vast and our goals bigger. We have matured in a sense inexplicable in words, and larger than ever previously imaginable. In the grand scheme of life, 4 years is a minute speck on the clock, the length of a presidential term, or the next time we will experience a Winter Olympics. But for us, the graduating class of 2010, these past 4 years are years that have helped mold us into the unique individuals we are today. It passed by so incredibly fast, but the memorable events we have experienced here will travel with us, forever ingrained upon our character. Among the everlasting memories from this year include the arrival of a new Highlander mascot uniform in all its kilted glory. From personal experience, I can tell you that it is not the most advisable costume to be wearing at a football game in 80-degree heat. So I admire you, McKay and Cueto, for donning it on far more occasions than I personally could have handled. Many remarkable memories of mine come from the hockey rink. I was part of the single worst athletic team in Pingree history for 4 consecutive years. JV girls ice hockey taught me discipline, sportsmanship, and most importantly, how to skate. We lost every game repeatedly for 2 years in a row, but by junior and senior year, we have racked up a total of 4 wins. We learned that the losses in life aren't important, especially when they vastly outnumber the quantity of wins. The most critical lesson we learned was to have fun and to come together as a team, even in defeat. This past year, we welcomed a new headmaster and gave our fond farewells by filling his office with crumpled newspaper and saran wrapping his furniture at the end of the year. We experienced Marshmallow Mondays, a freshman setting a bagel on fire and causing a school-wide fire drill, varied and exciting senior project, packed coffee houses, a plethora of trouble, and Andrew McGarrah singing Old Friends as a tribute to the seniors on our last day of school. We experienced whitewater rafting at the Forks, and Julia falling off her raft while we were immobile in stagnant water. From that very moment, I knew this year would be interesting, hysterical, and frankly unpredictable. Throughout the year, many of us truly did metaphorically tumble headfirst over the sides of our rafts of life into the great unknown. But no matter what happened, we climbed back into our rafts with the strength to carry on and lessons from our fall. We learned that not all bad experiences are meant to harm us. We learned more from our mistakes than we did from our successes. This year, we experienced first day of school driveway mayhem firsthand, along with many other extracurricular activities that earned us a stern reprimand. I think I can sum up our class motto as, good judgment comes from experience. Experience comes from bad judgment. Mr. Taft, you know you miss us. Out with our class go the reigning champions of Spirit Week 2 years in a row, and probably one of the most random and amazingly bizarre groups of students ever to graduate from Pingree. Let me take this time to foresee a few years into the future of some of our classmates and their successes. Veronica Corning will be playing at Wimbledon, Andrew McGarrah will be the next Jack Johnson. Hank Brakely will be living in a tree. Kyle O'Donnell will be the next star of SNL. Jamie Capucci will have her own talk show entitled The Jamie Capucci Experience. Clara Logan will be on Broadway. Pete Siegel will own a hair salon for the unique patron. Lucy Gladstone will win the title of Bananagramming Champion of the World. Jen Mrs. will be the next Gossip Girl. Nevin Potok will be the next Tiger Woods prior to Scandal. Kari Shaughnessy will be the next Food Network star. Tyler McCurdy, the third member of Flight of the Conchords. Danny Sullivan, the next President of the United States. Charlie Taft, the next Buddy Taft. And solver of world peace. But none of this will matter because Andrew McKay will inevitably take over the world. So enjoy this day because you are in the presence of the future of this world. As part of the graduating class of 2010, we can look back upon our years at Pingree knowing that we made a monumental and irreversible impact upon this school, for the sole reason that 12 teachers can't even fathom the thought of teaching at this institution without our presence next year. So they decided to leave too. We'll take that as a personal compliment to our class. Fellow seniors, I am so proud to call you my peers and inescapably the most prominent aspect of my own experience at Pingree. Now I can truthfully say that I am glad to have repeated my freshman year just to be a part of this grade. Sure, I was a little taken aback when I graduated from 9th grade, only to enter high school as a freshman all over again. But, Mom and Dad, I am now fully thankful that you told admissions behind my back that I wouldn't mind repeating my freshman year. 4 years ago, when I opened my acceptance letter to the Pingree class of 2010, I stood in shock at this very obvious mistake made by the admissions head for Pingree. It was not a mistake, and I entered Pingree with 4 years ahead of me instead of 3. But I couldn't be more grateful, and Mom and Dad, it was a choice I'm finally glad we made. 2 weeks ago, 9 seniors and myself took a senior project trip to Los Angeles to study the business that is Hollywood. We spoke with producers, actors, screenplay writers, agents, and directors, and each one had the same message to give us. Each one advised us to follow our passions, no matter how strange or off the beaten path they may be. Do what makes you happy in life, and eventually you'll be able to make a living out of it. Most importantly, do what you love and forget the rest. Sure, we all had to fill certain requirements to make it to graduation, but being at Pingree has ultimately enabled us to truly discover what we want to make out of our lives. I'm sure that each and every one of my classmates took from Pingree something completely different than the one sitting next to them. However, I can share with you some of how Pingree has changed my views upon the world. My very first day of freshman year, I walked into the art room and was greeted by Mr. E, ready to meet new victims of his silly string teaching techniques, blasting YouTube so loud I could barely hear him welcome me. Not only would I go to the art room every day for the next 4 years to make art and hang out with my peers and one of my favorite teachers, but I would also do what I love most in the art room: observe and memorize the various sayings, quotes, and random notes from the outside world, posted arbitrarily upon the art room walls by Mr. E himself. There on the wall states, "Do with your life what you would a work of art. If you can't make it unique, you can't make it. Skill is nothing without imagination, and always look twice. Your life should be a discipline of originality day by day. Learn the simple lessons well, and there's plenty of time if you don't waste time. The first act is seeing, and there's only one language that the blind can see and the deaf can hear, and that language is kindness." I took from these 4 years the knowledge that life will inevitably keep surprising us, and the only thing we can do is imagine the unforeseen and just keep swimming. To my fellow classmates, throughout the years, you taught me that it's important to surround yourself with people who want the best for you, people who want to help you progress and grow as a person, and to surround yourself with people smarter than you, and you will always strive to do better. Find the courage to do the things that you think you're not ready to do, and keeping this in mind, do one thing every day that scares you. In parting, I would like to leave you with one more analogy I learned from a giant bowl of fortune cookies. One day, after a lunch of chicken stir-fry, I picked a fortune cookie, but wasn't particularly inspired by the message it held. I'm ashamed to say that I never ate the fortune cookies, but took one after another until I found one I liked. In accordance with my symbolic actions, the final cookie read, "We are made to persist. That's how we find out who we are." So I say, forget fate, destiny, and the rest. Search for your own future, and don't settle for the first thing that crosses your path. Keep grabbing fortune cookies until you find one that suits you. And so, we made it. Together as a class, through the best of times and the worst of times, to this day that would seemingly never come. And now that it has, I can sincerely say I wish it hadn't come so soon. Most of us are itching to move on, ready for college and all it has to offer us. But I hope that each and every one of us remember what we have learned here, the friendships we have made, and the experiences we survived together. Class of 2010, I wish each of you the best of luck in the future, and again, congratulations.